Well, I'd like to reintroduce to you the Charity Dune Buggy updated and upgraded motor. We have tried to make this thing as nostalgic as possible and as durable as possible, and with a lot of horsepower and a lot of torque. This thing is just absolutely amazing. I just love a lot of the new technology, not only with the ignition system, but with a lot of the heads and the carburetions. So let's talk about this thing a little bit. This is a 2095. That's a 2.1 liter motor. That's a pretty big motor for an air-cooled Volkswagen motor. Internally, we have a 78.8 millimeter scat crank. We have chromoly rods in there with ARP bolts. These are SEMA Molly pistons and cylinders. That's a good old school name. We went with some super street heads. These things are swirled stainless steel valves, stage 1 port. We've also match ported the carburetors. Before we get into all that, we'll talk about it's an 8-to-1 compression. We have the Type 3 cooling tins and a lot of scat parts down in here. So this has an FK41 cam in here with 1.4 solid ratio rockers with swivel feet. So the base is amazing and solid. And then everything that you see, you know, the pity is we do all this work on the inside and very little work on the outside, and you can't see it. Here, just give you an example. Here's a motor that came in, very similar to what we started. This is an old motor. It's all frozen up. It's a good old motor. It's had a good long life, but it has a lot of life left in it. We just got to tear it apart and go through it. So this is just like this Charity Dune Buggy motor that we have built. You know, the example would be for the Lighthouse. They have their 60-day program, their 30-day program, 60-day program, and 2-year program, where basically in people's lives, they start coming in here where there's not a lot of purpose. They have a lot of rusted areas in their life where they've gone away from God's promises. And with a lot of love and a lot of instruction and some time, we can build like this motor here. So back to the motor, we have dual 45 millimeter style carburetors. These things are absolutely wonderful. Volkswagens love port to port. So when you have a dual carburetor and you're hitting it, man, it is just like instant. It is wonderful. So keeping with the nostalgic, we've kept with the nostalgic cover here. I had to do some modifications to it, but it came out pretty sweet. And the same as with the exhaust system. These have been used for years, for generations in Dune Buggies. This is a tri-mill, brand new, and these are ceramic coated. And same as with these old school empty valve covers. And these things have the C-channel gaskets on them, so we don't have cork gaskets being sucked in, and all aluminum, so it dissipates the heat. It's really, really nice. So when we talk about the ignition system, this is no points, no coils, full digital ignition system, what they call HEI, and this is Pat Downs shockwave system. And let's talk a little bit about our cooling. So not only do we have air cooled, and we've done a lot of good things, we're taking the oil out, we're filtering it with a good filter, not that little screen, and then we have a full oil cooler, and then it'll be all coming back into the case. We went with the CB Performance air breather system. We haven't had a chance to hook it up yet. But if you notice, these are all the AN fittings. AN fittings are just known. They're called AN for Army navy, and these are just known in the race world for being very reliable. So if we're doing all these fittings on here, we wanted to make it as reliable as possible, especially with all these scenarios there. Don't you love that electrical tape? Holds it up good. Okay, so let's go in the back here. Oh no, blue tape. That means we're waiting for something. Yep, we're waiting for some additional parts to come in. So what we've done here is we've kept it old school. That was one of our big things. We wanted this Dune Buggy to be nostalgic, but a lot of modern technology for Volkswagen air-cooled. So we don't have the oil coming out here, which goes directly to the bearings. So we keep that pressure of the oil going directly to the bearings, but we also, that'll be capped off down there. But we don't put an oil cooler here being sucked in. That's what they used to do with those old Dune Buggies. And basically your fresh air is coming in. It goes through here for the oil, which is only like 30% of your cooling, and then you're blowing hot air onto your cylinder. So by here, we went with the nostalgic cover, and we're going to be taking cold air directly to the cylinders. And then again, for durability, we went with AN fittings. There's going to be AN6. They're going to come up here to the T and then going out from there. And then for the flywheel, we went with a Lighten 12-pound flywheel chromoly. This is the good stuff. Oversized bolt in there. And we went with old school Kennedy engineering clutch. And this is a stage 1. So it won't break your foot, but it'll hook when you need it. So there you go. Old school Dune Buggy for the Charity Lighthouse, place of restoration. And this was done by Vintage Flat 4 right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for the Lighthouse, a place of restoration, faith-based, a wonderful thing. Here we go. Boom!